People think that stories are shaped by people. In fact, it's the other way around. How do the timeless narratives we've been introduced to since childhood redefine our understanding of the world? Well, contemporary narratives reconceptualize traditional fairy tales, employing a didactic storytelling approach to reveal the emotional complexity intrinsic to the human condition. But what defines the human condition? As humans, we are shaped by our experiences and the intricate emotions that come with life: growth, survival, love, aspiration, morality, conflict, and more. This condition establishes our humanity, as authors write to subvert common themes found in original tales, reforming them to match the values of modern-day society. These meta-narratives that give life context, meaning, and purpose have within them the seeds and renaissances of other texts, allowing this intertextuality to reinterpret text throughout time for didactic purposes. Jane Yolen's 1992 fictional novel Briar and Tim Burton's gothic fantasy film Edward Scissorhands thoroughly encapsulate this very condition through their unique storytelling that transcends time. From this, both authors give insight into the challenges of the human experience through the showcase of conformity, the impact of trauma, and the subversion of fairy tales. This enables us to understand how narratives not only reflect but shape our perceptions of life through the intrinsic need to tell folk tales. I believe Yolen's symbolic representation of Sleeping Beauty is a powerful allegory for the Holocaust. In Briar, Yolen reimagines the tale to showcase the response to extreme adversity and themes of how characters convey memory and trauma. However, Burton offers a modern fairy tale with common fairy tale tropes that expose the separation and moral integrity within Edward's struggle for acceptance in a conformist town. Briar exposes us to the horrors people endured during the Holocaust. It tells us of the individuals who were too scared to speak out against the isolation and killing of Jews. In what ways do societal norms influence individual behavior between beneficial or harmful conformity? Even if we believe we don't follow convention, we are always unintentionally following this relentless cycle of conformity. Inspired by Sleeping Beauty and fairy tale tropes, Yolen conceptualizes this medium and its themes through generational storytelling to impart didactic messages about acknowledging and confronting past injustices through the protagonist Becca and her grandmother Gemma's past. She conveys the widespread indifference to the Holocaust through how no one cared about the sleeping folk inside, with Yolen using this to critique society and its failure to acknowledge injustice. The sleeping folk as a metaphor for the dehumanized Holocaust victims is an allegory for the Jewish people, aligning with the fairy tale motif of a sleeping princess. This subversion of individuals awaiting rescue in comparison to those who were suffering but ignored displays Yolen's intention to confront readers with uncomfortable truths, as Briar softens the reality of the Holocaust, making it more accessible to readers such as young audiences. Furthermore, Gemma's retelling of the Sleeping Beauty story to her granddaughters expresses the generational passing of narratives, accentuating the human need to tell stories, as she subtly alters the original tale out of trauma to hide the dark truth of her past. Ultimately, Yolen reimagines the importance of memory through the transformation of Sleeping Beauty, imposing an instructive approach to learning from the past. Similarly, Tim Burton's postmodernist film Edward Scissorhands, released in 1990, revealed that conformity within society and collective fear are simply part of the human condition. Drawing on the archetype of the misunderstood monster, Burton creates a narrative that critiques societal norms by subverting traditional fairy tale aspects, similar to Briar and Sleeping Beauty. Edward's character mirrors Burton's personal struggles with fitting into society, displaying that despite his non-human nature, Edward is more human than the townspeople. A scene that personally resonates with me is the dog that innocently approaches Edward after his rampage of cutting ties between the townspeople. The dog's unassuming nature symbolizes the community's initial perception of Edward, curious and depicted as innocent. However, it reveals a deeper remark on societal behavior as the dog simply walks away after getting a trim. It profoundly suggests how the suburban neighborhood had exploited him for their benefit, then discarded him, sentimentally exploring the separation of Edward from the townspeople. Burton characterizes the townspeople to critique societal norms and the readiness to ostracize those who are different. Edward's features of being a beauty and a beast blur lines between gender norms, as, despite his gentle nature and artistic talents, typically associated with femininity, Edward's struggle to connect with the neighborhood conveys the pain of being misjudged for his intentions. This reflects how society often rejects individuals who do not conform to traditional gender norms, highlighting the human desire for acceptance. Through intertextual references, Burton's stylistic choices subvert these fairy tale conventions, showcases the superficiality of conformity and the duality of beauty. This allows the audience to look beyond appearances and to recognize the worth of individuality regardless of differences. Through the framework of a fairy tale and a context close to ours, Burton shows the flaws within society and conformist expectations through marginalized characters. So, once upon a time, narratives didactically reshaped traditional fairy tales to explore complex ideas, emotions, and universal truths that inspire introspection on the human condition. By drawing inspiration from traditional literature, both Yolen's Briar and Burton's Edward Scissorhands creatively combine fairy tale elements to provide textual integrity about human existence to foster a better world. Narratives will forever be immortalized along with their values. And when we talk about the original concept of fairy tales, never can we deny the significant role they play in the passing down of shared aspects of human experience from generation to generation.